So now we're in a bit of a, not a stalemate position by any, but a bit of a lull in the action here because DarkForce right now, he's got 4 bases, one of them a gold base, so he's really able to pound down these minerals, taking his gases. At this stage in the game, you got to be asking yourself, like, okay, what's the Zerg's options? Like, it looks like we've got some Mutalisk harass that's going to start happening here. He's gonna start pushing at that rocks, just like he was doing before. Wants to at least knock these rocks down, wants to at least have that option. And hey, free Stalker, why not? So, gearing up to do a little bit of harassment with these Mutalisks, while at the same time, going to be knocking down these these rocks, rather. Looks like we're going to get a cannon firing on down there. Not going in for the harassment, choosing instead to loop back around with these Mutalisks. Well, while attempting to get this base, Lone Stalker sort of picking it on off, but these Mutalisks will be able to clear that up with no trouble whatsoever. 4th base is up for DarkForce. He's going to be able to saturate that soon and able to get in there. Ooh, looks like he knocked the rocks down, but going in there, ooh, that's where the bulk of the army is, and here comes the Mutalisks coming on in. Got a 2-pronged sort of attack going on. Looks like these Mutalisks are going to be able to overwhelm this position if they so choose. If they just commit to the attack and go on in, takes out a cannon, swings back around, decides to take out these Stalkers. Meanwhile, the rest of his army is kind of chilling right here. He wants to see where Grubby's going to end up going. Mutalisk sort of retreating back home, and the rest of his army sort of retreating back home, taking the pressure off a little bit. He's got to be pretty confident in the fact that right now he's sitting on 4 base and the Protoss is sitting on 3. And again, though, now we've got to start thinking about tech. It's very common for Zerg players to get caught in this sort of mid-game position where they've got a lot of Mutalisks, they got a lot of Zerglings, and they got some Roaches going on. Or perhaps Hydralisks as well. Hydralisks do very well in a Roach-Hydra sort of composition. But it's an unfortunate situation. Oh, and there's the Dark Shrine. Oh, goodness, here's some DTs. No detection whatsoever on the field. Oh, this is going to be miserable. Look at all of these drone kills. While this is going on, Mutalisk's powering into the base, trying to do a little bit of damage. Nothing in the econ. There's too many Stalkers there. Meanwhile, he's just slaughtering poor little drones, dying their horrible death. And there's a DT there, just hacking away at that hatchery. Meanwhile, there's no detection on the field. There's nothing going on for DarkForce. Another DT could come up here. Finally now getting some Spore Crawlers down. No Spore Crawlers here. Got Spore Crawlers popping up here. Spore Crawlers finally popping up here. But this hatch is in some trouble. Looks like finally some detection moving on up, but Grubby just moves it away. I mean, that's Warcraft 3. That's Orc playing for you. So he's moving down with his Stalker army here, going to try and threaten a little bit. Knows that this is a little bit cut off. If he can get into this sort of zone, he can really keep these 2 bases separated from one another. And he knows that he's got the Meteor armor. I mean, he knows that the Mutalisks are more mobile, and he knows that they can really swoop in and get places. But he knows that his army is a beefier sort of thing if he chooses to commit. Right now, he's choosing to take out some creep tumors, wants to get as much creep gone. Doesn't, again, cutting off the mobility of the Zerg army. Another DT just finishing this off. The lack of detection just being the murder of DarkForce here. And here we go. Looks like Grubby is gearing up to take that 4th. Because Grubby now has a 4th, well, Grubby has the potential to have 4th. If Grubby can get that 4th up, he will be tied in bases with this kind of thing. And that's really going to make him a lot more threatening. He's gearing up. Look at this. He's gearing up even to take his gold. Grubby is taking his side of the map with authority. All of the harassment, all the little stuff. At this stage in the game, like, this hive tech has got to get going, man. It's 19 minutes in the game, and we haven't even. And we're just now starting hive tech. Oh, it's for the Zerg player. It's a bad position to be in right now. He can't really directly assault this army. If he tries to, it's a losing situation. And because of that, Grubby's able to control the middle a lot better. Here's an engagement right here. A lot of force fields, cutting those Zerglings off. Mutalisks flying on in. But being repelled easily with this, now we've got Blink going on the field. It's a tough situation for any Zerg player to be in, and right now he's at 4 bases to the Protoss's potential 5 base, and There's that blink coming into play, really able to jump away from any kind of threat. Really doing a number on this army. Looks like those with the cannons. DarkForce trying to break that position, but gets repelled fairly easily, actually. So Grubby's satisfied to sort of sit back, work up his 5 base situation, and here we go. DarkForce now has his 4th base. He always had that 4th base. How silly of me. What he needs to do is, what DarkForce needs to do is he needs to be getting these bases, but their Dark Templar just being so frustratingly annoying, and DarkForce not really getting much in the way of detection. I mean, he can get this Overseer going on. He can get something to get rid of those Dark Templar, and until he does, he's in the losing position at this stage of the game. I mean, this hive is just finished here. We've seen nothing in terms of the Greater Spire kind of come out of this thing. We've got a decent amount in terms of upgrades, but it's 2-2 to 0-1 at this stage. And even if he gets 0-2 on these Mutalisks, it's not going to be the greatest situation for him. So, still, with the Dark Templar just being so annoying, just kind of blockading him as much as he can. Here comes a Warp Prism, flying on down. Oh, this is going to be a little bit of a Zealot push here. Trying to do some kind of counter thing. Oh, and there's a Dark Templar, but does have enough in terms of detection to, well, not really. He's not really protecting his mineral line. Meanwhile, here comes a little bit more of a Mutalisk crash, easily getting repelled. Just, again, with his utilizing his Dark Templar play so well. It's like a trademark of Grubby. I mean, in Warcraft 3, he was the Blade Master with his stealth attacks and his sneakiness, and now he uses DTs like they were Blade Masters, which is just brilliant to watch. Look at this. Look, the Spinecrawler could even see it, and he still almost took it down, and now we're just getting a straight-out push. The Archons are on the field. Oh, goodness. If we see here, he's already got Psionic Storm Research, so any Templar are just going to be able to rip through any kind of army. At this point, I mean, Grubby might just be able to 1A his way to victory. I mean, he's got so many more bases. He's got the Meteor Army. Meanwhile, just only halfway through to get the Broodlords. And is Broodlords even the right choice in this sort of situation? I mean, we've got an awful lot of Blink Stalkers on the field. Maybe he'd be better off going Ultralisk, trying to get maybe some Infestors, but at this, it's too late for that now, really. DarkForce, he's got a lot of Mutalisks, and he's attacking into these gateways, but these gateways are new. I mean, the production facilities have moved. They're all in here now, you know? And here comes Grubby with a huge push. If he can take out this gold expansion, that's going to be pretty lights out. Here comes a big counterattack, but look how far he has to go. He's not even in the base, and he's hitting cannons. He's being slowed down. Just chewing through with this kind of thing. Sending back Lone Stalker to take out the expansion, but Stalkers are mobile enough that they can get back. There's been some damage, but not the same amount of damage as taking out that 3rd base. The economy of DarkForce is lagging behind now. He's got 1 mining base, he's got 2 mining bases. Yeah, he's got 2 mining bases, another Dark Templar, just, being the most annoying man in the world. Meanwhile, Grubby's got his gold up. He's got 1 here. He's got 1 here. He has 3 mining bases, 1 that's gold against 2 mining bases. This is just a bad situation for DarkForce to find himself in. And look at that. Grubby takes out another. Finally, that Dark Templar getting taken out. Dark Templars have paid for themselves this game. So now we're just getting a lot of Stalker movement. Wants to be a little wary. These Mutalisks can swing in, can do anything. Here's a bit of a Mutalisk Harask on this base here that Grubby's going to take care of pretty easily, blinking on up. Some more Mutalisk Harask, not even upgraded. These, I think he left that sort of for dead. So now we've got a little bit of a movement going towards these Mutalisks, going to try and slow them down as much as he can. Some more Mutalisk Harask. Oh, look at this. Blink Stalkers just laying into those Mutalisks. Got Mutalisks coming in on both sides here. Oh, if they can get in right here, that could be a huge, huge swing in the game. Oh, look at this. Getting on in there, really gonna massacre these. Meanwhile, Grubby's just desperately swinging around. Grubby was supply block for just a second. Takes out that Nexus and swings down to try and take out another. Oh, here we go. This is how DarkForce gets back in this game, by eliminating any kind of economic advantage that Grubby may have. Lots of Stalkers on the field, though. Don't know if blinked right under all those Mutalisks. That's a tough situation. Looks like he's going to repel these Mutalisks fairly easy. And are there any Corruptors on the field at all? There's nothing in the way of any kind of Broodlord coming on up. These Stalkers, oh dear, this counter assault right here. This could be the hammer. This could be the hammer to just crush DarkForce. Tacking on in, Grubby taking a lot of drones. Oh, blink right under the Mutalisks. Mutalisks doing their best to try and take out, but it's 2-2 to 0-2. The Stalkers are doing pretty solid amount of damage right now. Yeah, look at this. And there's some shocks, and there's the GG from DarkForce, and that's the end of the game. I think what we saw there was we saw Grubby in a fairly bad position. Zerg, as usual, typically gets the lead in the mid-game, had control of the middle of the map, but then just fell for the same old trap that Zerg falls for, which is late Hive, late Greater Spire. Maybe even the Spire in this choice wasn't the best choice. And those DTs just annihilating this location and this location. There's even a DT still sitting there. So, and the final nail in the coffin was right here. I mean, DarkForce tried to come in and tried to do a lot of damage, but it just forced the push, and it just forced Grubby's hand to finish off the game. So, well played by both people, but Grubby came out the victor this time around. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my very first cast. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you look forward to more in the future. Thanks a ton. Toodles.